Well, here we go with Gweedore again, Ed. You and I were at Musselburgh when he stuck on to finish third over 7 furlongs.
Yeah, some people thought he was unlucky, didn't really get a run up the inside rail too late in the day. Whether he was going well enough to take it is a moot point. His 3 wins have come over 7 furlongs, but he stays this mile trip, and the way he's shaped at Musselburgh suggested that he might well be a little bit more at home at it. Certainly ground is a tick in the right box for him. All 3 career wins have come with ease in the ground, but I just wonder if there might be 1 or 2 better treated than Gweedore here.
Then we come to number 8, Flying Moon for Mike Smith, one of several on this afternoon's card that ran on Saturday night.
Yeah, he was a 4-time winner last season, but I think he's been a little bit underwhelming since his win here in June on much quicker ground, even though he's only been marginally higher in the weights. He was behind retirement Beckons with only 5th in that Lady Riders race on Saturday, and he's yet to win in this grade for the first time. But the reason to think he can step up on that here, the ease in the ground and the fact this is like to be run at a solid pace, would be 2 of those reasons.
The only 3-year-old in the race is number 5, Bullseye, and when we spoke to Ian Jardine earlier on, he was talking up his chances.
Well, this is a horse who was a winner at Musselburgh over this trip on his final start at 2, and he's been run 2 decent enough races in stronger company so far this season, so he's dropping down in grade here, and I think with a stronger pace to aim at than he got last time when only 4th of 5th to Redana should very much be to his advantage. Slower ground I should say, is a question mark for him though.
And finally number 9, Corn Davin Lad, winner over course and distance back in April of 53, £5 higher here this afternoon.
Yeah, that win got him off the mark at the 16th attempt when he beat Air Poet, and although he's not won since, he's been running his usual game and consistent races in 3 starts since then, including over this course and distance a couple of times. He's back off a 2-month break this afternoon, but he generally does his running in 0 to 60 and 0 to 65 company. And also the easy ground is a question mark for him as well, because he's mainly kept to good or quicker conditions.
Horses then in the paddock ahead of the final race here at Ayr.
So let's check out the market that we have for this 4:35 contest. QTS handicap Gweedore is the market leader at 9-4. Bullseye 100-30, 5-1 for Flying Moon. 11-2 Ventura Rascal. Get Knotted 17-2. 11's Corndavan Ladden 12-1. 4 Tilsit. 2 absentees. Bring It On Boris and King of Tonga does reduce the number of each way places from 3 down to 2. 9-4 the field. Gweedore is the favourite in the last.
Yeah, Ed and I don't know whether to stick a twist here because we've got so many of our favourite horses running in this race, haven't we, Ed? Flying Moon, Bullseye, Gweedore.
Get Knotted, an old timer here
Pardon?
who we've seen running in gold and silver cups. I think we should probably start with Gweedore, now market leader. You and I have thrown this back and forth, haven't we, about whether we thought Gweedore was unlucky at Musselburgh on Friday, where he didn't get a run up the rail until late in the piece. The winner that day, Geometric Injury, the bird had already flown. But I think you and I were both of the opinion that he wasn't going well enough to take that gap had it come. It was over 7 furlongs on quicker ground than he encountered here. Yeah, he might have been second, but we're pretty sure he wouldn't have won. So he's back to a track he's won at before, off just a £2 lower mark. Softer conditions, up to a mile. It's going to be a well-run mile as well, isn't it, Gordon? Because with the likes of Ventura Rascal and Tilsit, who went off at that breakneck pace with King of Tonga in the race that Zoravan was second in on Saturday night, this is going to be run at a decent pace, and I don't think there'll be any excuses for Gweedore this time.
We talked about quite a few of these on TV extra for in the paddock, and one we didn't see for the simple reason that he went to post early is that pace angle you talked about, Ventura Rascal.
Yeah, he's been in really good form. He ended last season in good form, and he's carried on this. He's won twice. He's proved himself on slower ground as well this year at Thirsk in May. It was only a claimer he won at Catterick 3 weeks ago, but I thought it was still a commendable effort, giving weight to, or more weight to the run-up than he would have done in a handicap, and he dug really deep throughout the final 2 furlongs to prevail. There is going to be more required from him going back into a handicap and off a £5 higher mark than for his last handicap win. But I thought interesting that the fact King of Tonga, of course, runs in the same colours. He's a non-runner. That does remove one of the confirmed pace angles, but whether he will get a freebie on that front end remains to be seen, because Tilsit was very much one that likes to go forward and certainly did on Saturday night, and we could well get another speed duel on here if Tilsit wants to go forward and try and take on Ventura Rascal for the lead.
And one that could get towed into it, one of several, Bullseye, Jerry McGladry, the owner here, Ian Jardine, we all know what he did on Saturday night, the only 3-year-old in the race, and Andrew Mullen was on board 3 of those Jardine 4 winners.
Yeah, I think certainly that's going to help Bullseye. He didn't have a strong pace to run at last time when he was not beaten all that far when 4th to Radana in a better grade of race here. I think he could be very dangerous under backing grade here and with that stronger pace to aim at. He's also, so down in grade, I think is probably key point as well. He did disappoint on soft ground at Musselburgh last year as a 2-year-old,
yeah,
but I wouldn't read too much into it because he got lit up very early having missed the break, and he absolutely charged off and burnt himself out. So I would put a line through that particular run, and I think there's certainly more to come from this horse. I think he will prove a good bit better than his handicap mark.
Just Andrew Mullins just jumped off him down at the start. I'm not sure quite why that is, but while we just talk through some of the others, we come to Flying Moon, who's done so well since going to Mike Smith. He's had that one win so far this year, and he did you say when we did the extra paddock stuff he'd been an underachiever this year?
No, I thought he'd
How
been,
dare you?
I know he's your horse to follow, I just thought he was a little bit underwhelming since that win here on quicker ground. I thought he might have just gone on a little bit, but what he will get, a bit like Bullseye, that strong pace he needs over this trip. Soft ground, cut underfoot is very much Flying Moon's bag, and although he's up in grade here and was disappointing, a little underwhelming, I thought, on Saturday night when only 5th in that race.
For Carol Bartley, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was on him that day, but they didn't go a strong pace in that Lady Riders race, and I think a strong pace here could well see Flying Moon step up on that performance from Saturday night.
I think that's actually Bullseye being reversed into the stalls, isn't it? That's why Andrew Mullins jumped off, so that's the reason being put in the opposite direction, so to speak. We mentioned one of Mike Smith's horses, Flying Moon. The other one, Tilsit, also ran on Saturday night.
Yeah, he did. He got involved in a real skirmish up front with King of Tonga, and he lasted longer than King of Tonga in that, but they really did set the race up for the closers. It was the race won by Equity to complete that 4-timer for Ian Jardine. He's not going to get an easy time of it on the front end here, and it may well be that his rider again this afternoon, Kieran Schofield comes in for the ride here on Tilsit this time. He may just have to accept he's not going to get past Ventura Rascal, because that horse only knows one way of going. I thought Paul Hannigan was saying that maybe if Corn Davin Lad was on one of his going days, to be fair to Corn Davin Lad, he does seem to be, for all he's only won one race. He usually runs a solid race, but it is usually in a lower grade than this. And I'll get knotted, just wonder, soft conditions will certainly suit him. He's an old boy now, and he's not been at his best this year, but again, a solid pace for him will certainly bring him into it.
Yeah, it was Flying Moon that was reversed into the stalls riderless. Paddy Mather's now back on board, and there's just a couple left to come forward. Bullseye, one of them, Gweedore the other, Malcolm.
Yeah, spot on, Goody. Gweedore going straight in, so I'll just leave Bullseye to stall 3 to complete the lineup for Ian Jardine and Andrew Mullen. Bullseye walking forward completes the lineup for race number 6. We are set to go. They're off for the QTS Handicap Stakes. Get Knotted just restrained a bit at the start, so too Bullseye. Flying Moon not the best away. Good start by Gweedore and by Ventura Rascal, who wants the pace. Ventura Rascal goes on in the pale blue, horse and a noseband, to Gweedore in the dark blue with the white cross belts and the yellow and red striped sleeves and hooped cap, racing in second. The green and blue of Tilsit sitting in third place is followed through by Bullseye centre pack in the royal blue and yellow diamonds with the white sleeves. Then Flying Moon with the orange sleeves, horse and a noseband. Corn Davin Lad settled towards the back in the black and red colours, and so too the black and white stripes of Get Knotted. Paul Mulrennan's got him about 8 off the leader, which is Ventura Rascal. As they reach the end of the back stretch, they're taking the turn to come back towards the final half mile, so approaching the halfway point, and up front no change. Ventura Rascal and Kevin Stott dictating a steady pace by 3 parts of a length to Gweedore racing second. Tilsit is close up third, followed by Bullseye in fourth. Flying Moon still a little bit worse than centre pack, followed by Corn Davin Lad, and Get Knotted at the back of the field now starts a run. Down the straight they come, they're inside the final 3. Ventura Rascal trying to see them off, but Gweedore's travelling well and bagging this near side rail. Tilsit is 3 deep of those. Flying Moon's trying to go 4 deep. Bullseye still in behind them. Get Knotted hasn't really picked up. Corn Davin Lad's getting reminders. They're back inside the final couple of furlongs now. Gweedore's just about got to the front. Ventura Rascal kept going. Tilsit is next. Bullseye is starting to run on, but they're down towards the final furlong now. Gweedore still there. Ventura Rascal scrapping away. Tilsit towards the far side. Bullseye is next, then Flying Moon well inside the furlong now. Gweedore towards the near side is sticking his head out, and Gweedore will go on to win the finale. Followed through in second by Tilsit. In third, Ventura Rascal, followed by Flying Moon.
Gweedore then, who had a troubled passage before finishing third at Musselburgh over 7 furlongs on Friday, into the winner's enclosure for Lamont Racing, Jason Hart and Katie Scott. Tilsit third here on Saturday night, finishes in second, and the leader Ventura Rascal is third, and then there's a gap back to the fourth horse, which was Flying Moon. You can see there Get Knotted coming across the line ahead of Bullseye and then Corn Davin Lad. But Gweedore, for Katie Scott, a Borders trainer, she will be absolutely over the moon.
And whether or not he was unlucky at Musselburgh on Friday is completely irrelevant now, Gordon, because he's got the job done. Again, soft ground, I think, key to him, winning for the mile for the first time. As the runners turned in, eschewed that far rail once again, but I think what you saw there was he was in absolutely the box seat there, Jason Hart. Unlike on Friday, where he had that very much troubled passage. In the box seat here, just tracking the front-running Ventura Rebel. Tilsit as well. The fact that those two have hung in there and nothing else has got into the race from behind suggests they have gone, for all we thought it might be a competitive pace early on.
It wasn't frantic.
No, it wasn't frantic. I think Kieran Schofield was happy to give Ventura Rebel that particular lead, and as it's turned out, Gweedore has been in the ideal spot and using his 7 furlong pace just to quicken up and take it off a £2 higher mark than he'd won off previously.
Course and distance winner 2 runs ago, Richard, back into the winner's enclosure again here at Ayr. Gweedore.
Favourite wins the last. Gweedore 2-1 market leader for Jason Hart, Katie Scott and Lamont Racing, beating Tilsit into second at